Hey guys, welcome back to Barry Melt's channel. Today we're going to talk about depression after weight loss surgery. Okay, so this topic is really important to me, and I think it's something we should talk more about, and that is depression. So you've had bariatric surgery, you're feeling great, you're feeling happier, you're feeling healthier, and everything is going really well. And this is an amazing feeling. But there will come a time where you might experience some depression. So we're gonna talk through that today and hopefully help you out if you are in a similar situation that I was in. So there are multiple reasons why depression can happen after weight loss surgery. And the number one reason that I believe, and it was something that I experienced personally, is that when you realize you cannot eat certain foods. That's just like, I remember it being like so traumatizing to me when I thought about, oh my God, I'm never gonna have a chocolate milkshake again, or I'm not gonna have this, I'm not gonna have that. When I thought about it like that, it made me super depressed because I felt like I've always used food for comfort and have experienced that food addiction. So after surgery, some people really experience some depression because they can't eat the way they were eating before surgery. For some people, they believe that the surgery is going to be a fix-all, and that's just not the case. There are so many people that struggle with depression afterwards because they don't solve the problems that are causing them to emotionally eat. And this is why it's so important to really be open and honest and talk to people throughout your journey so you don't get stuck in that cycle. It is really hard to think about the foods that you aren't gonna have, especially if you've had this type of attachment to food where it's helped you through different situations. So I totally understand. I was there as well. I felt like it was just so sad to kind of let go of those foods. And it's something that I think I wasn't really prepared for. I remember early on when other people were eating in front of me, I was just so annoyed, I was angry, I was so frustrated because I couldn't eat the same food. So that's something that you don't think about prior to surgery, and so it's important for you to realize that these things happen so you can be a little bit more prepared when they come. So that's what I think is the number one reason, is because we are so attached to food that the thought of not having it makes us extremely depressed, extremely frustrated. The next thing is your friendships and your relationships. These things can change after surgery, and they can cause you to have a little bit of depression. There are some people who are just not ready for the changes they're gonna see in you, and they might go a separate way and they might leave you. And this can cause some depression because you're used to these relationships and then they're not ready for the new you, so it causes them to kind of just go off on their own. And that's really hard to think about, that you could lose friendships, that you could lose relationships, the person you're with, your partner. There are things that I've heard and stories that I've heard about this because people around you just aren't ready for the changes that they're seeing. And that's honestly something that I don't think you should deal with, because if there are people in your life that are wanting to just leave the minute you start showing positive changes, they don't deserve to be in your life. So remember that when you start maybe experiencing people kind of pushing you away a little bit, realize that those are the people that you don't necessarily want in your life. Another thing that can cause depression is if you have complications after the surgery. We all know that there are different side effects and complications that can happen with any surgery, and this can cause some depression because it can make you think that you made the wrong decision. So if you are currently going through something, maybe you have a complication, I feel for you because I know it probably is really hard to see the positive side of this when you're experiencing something that you didn't expect. I've also read some studies that show that if you're eating low calorie or low carb especially, that it can contribute to your mood. And because of the insulin levels, because of serotonin, dopamine, all of these chemicals that we have in our body, they can change once you make a diet change. Something I found that really contributed to my mood was the lack of vitamin D. I got really deficient in vitamin D, and it wasn't until I started taking vitamins that I realized, oh, life isn't supposed to be like this. Vitamin D plays a huge role with depression, and it really contributes to your mood. So if you are not taking vitamin D, I highly recommend that you do, especially if you are dealing with some depression right now, because personally, I saw a huge difference with how I was feeling once I started implementing vitamin D in my life. So those are just a few things that cause depression after weight loss surgery. And now I want to talk about how you prevent depression from happening. I say this in every single video, but my number one advice to people is that you get mentally prepared for surgery before you even go into that operating table. You have to be mentally ready for the changes that will come after bariatric surgery. Because you're not going to be using food to help with stress anymore, you have to develop those healthy habits prior to surgery and develop a strategy of what you're going to do when you are stressed or you are overwhelmed. You heard me talk about how sometimes relationships can change. So one thing I really encourage you to do is talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to your partner, and discuss things that you need from them and how they can better support you throughout this journey. Support groups can also play a huge role in your recovery process, your pre-op process, everything that you go through as a bariatric patient. Having a support group is just the most wonderful thing to have. There are so many bariatric patients out there, and having a community where you can go talk about things that you're going through and hear from someone who might have gone through something similar can really, really help you. It's also really healthy to find new ways for you to get endorphins and to feel good and to help stabilize some of those chemicals that might be a little messed up. And that is by doing things like working out, spending time with your friends, your family, where there's not food involved. Just being in the moment and being able to appreciate the things that you have in your life. I know that it can be really challenging to deal with depression. I have personally dealt with depression quite severely, and I know it's a battle, but you're strong, you're resilient, and you will get through this. You just have to prepare yourself mentally for what's to come. There are plenty of people out there that don't have depression after weight loss surgery, but I like to talk about this topic because I do think there are plenty of people out there that do suffer, and if you are in that pre-op stage, I really encourage you to start mentally preparing and to hopefully prevent that depression from happening. If you have gone through something like this, please leave me a comment down below, and let's help each other out. And as always, you guys, I'm here to answer any questions. I'm here to support you. This is something that's so great to have this community on Barry Melt's channel, is that we can help each other figure out these roadblocks that we experience. And speaking of vitamin D, if you are interested in trying out a Barry Melt's vitamin D, use my code KIMH20 and you'll get 20% off your order. All right, that's gonna be it for today. I love you guys, and I will see you very soon.